Pacifically Peeking.
The Pacific Ocean is the largest body of water in the world. An endless variety of books have been written about this fascinating sea, but no one volume covers the subject so comprehensively as Pacifically Peeking. May we present its author, that eminent old salt, Moby Duck. Hey, Moby, ahoy there.
Ahoy there, mateys. Welcome aboard. You know, a book be like a ship. It can take ye to places you've never seen afore. I be Moby Duck, author and captain of this here vessel. As ye can see from our cargo list here, we be shipping a full load. Such things as Pacific geography, explorers, the mysterious undersea, etc., etc., etc. Aye, mateys, from port to aft we'll be cruising the mighty Pacific. You'll be seeing a sea of contrasts. Though Pacific means calm, it isn't always that way. Aye, there be trim craft for any cruise. There be finny creatures, both large and small. The chill of winter, and on the same day, though miles away, tropical heat. He will see a sea of adventure, sports in wild variety, a sea of mystery and excitement. Ha-ha! See? Hold it! Stop the engines! We be saving that for later. Now, mateys, afore ye folks go sightseeing with us, there be a few facts about the Pacific we should discuss. Now, all the land on our globe adds up to 1/4. The 3/4 what is left be water. Think of that. 1/2 to be Pacific of the water, be Pacific, upon which we will base our little chat. Oh, wide Pacific, great Pacific. How much bigger can ye get? You're tremendous, you're gigantic, twice the size of the Atlantic, twice the size, though ye be never twice as wet.
North Pacific, South Pacific, 6 and 7 seas.
I be one of the alive ones who'll sail t'other 5 ones, but ye 2 Pacifics be the one for me. Why, it be so big, the United States would fit snugly between Hawaii and Wake Island, if you move Wake a bit. The span of the Pacific be 11,000 miles.
From Panama across to East Malay. Should you ever get the notion to negotiate this ocean, you will have to cross the date line on the way. Every Sunday it is Monday down on Little Sunday Isle. On Thursday, Monday too, as you supposed.
But way up in Friday Harbor.
You could never find a barber, for on Sunday, Friday barber shops are closed.
Fast Pacific. Fast Pacific.
May your motion never cease. Aren't you glad there's no deterrent to your California current, your Australian Humboldt, or your Japanese?
Now, the currents travel clockwise in Pacific north and counter-clockwise in Pacific south.
And if you're drifting in the Humboldt current westward from Peru, you'll feel the balmy southeast trade winds blow. But a marlin Island they impale somewhere in between Australia and the Tuamotu archipelago.
Archipelago be a Greek word, which means chief sea.
Green Pacific, blue Pacific, you truly made Balboa cheer. It was still 3 months to Christmas when he shouted from the isthmus.
Oh boy, I think I have discovered something here. Next came Magellan.
Magellan with his scurvy crew sailed through his crooked strait. His men about to mutiny and quit. When he found the Marianas, he divided up bananas, which was probably the first banana split. It was Captain Cook's third voyage to the Polynesian Isles, where he received the natives' fatal dart.
Ouch!
But his history gives no clue how on the menu of the luau he was on the dinner or just a la carte.
By Jove! Mad Pacific, sad Pacific. Do you remember Captain Bligh?
When that mutiny was plotted off the Bounty, he was trotted, and he never had a chance to say goodbye.
Mr. Christian, I will get you yet.
To enlarge upon Moby's mention of the Bounty Mutiny, some few months after Captain Bligh was set adrift, 9 of the mutineers and their Tahitian wives fled to remote Pitcairn Island. Their leader, Fletcher Christian, ordered the Bounty burned, destroying all trace of their whereabouts. This was January 24th, 1790. As a safe refuge, lush Pitcairn Island promised a paradise, but it wasn't to be. Soon, jealousy and violence flared, taking their toll of lives. Finally, only one mutineer remained, John Adams. Paradoxically, the women and children were to thrive under his guidance. Adams, ever fearful of capture and divine retribution, spent half his late years scanning the sea. Today, the village of Adamstown seems to be the very paradise the mutineers were seeking. Aging gracefully are homes and gardens and folks. These are fine old faces, strong and proud of a rebellious ancestry. Here's Fred Christian. He's a direct descendant of Fletcher, #1 mutineer. Crops are abundant in the island's fertile soil and mild climate. Pitcairn's fruit and vegetables are famed for their size and flavor. Trade goods received from passing ships are divided up in a share-out. Everyone is glad to do things for the good of the community. The Pitcairn bell rings for all important events. Now, it's the daily school session, and education is highly valued on Pitcairn Island. The school bell signals time to play. Saturday is the day of worship. Pitcairners are devoted Seventh-day Adventists whose religion prohibits the use of alcohol and tobacco.
Whatever I knew, wherever I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me.
What would seem to be a hobby is actually the main source of income to the islanders. Carved from Miro wood, these curios will be eagerly purchased by passengers of visiting ships. The women, too, have a handsome and profitable craft in the skillful weaving of palm leaves. Sail ho! A passing ship has stopped for a short visit. The Pitcairners are off to peddle their wares. All able bodies, including children, must help launch and load the longboats. Seasoned crewmen to handle the oars. Many boats have capsized in these treacherous swells. On ship, the boarding ladders have been lowered over the sides. Trading takes less time than the traveling. However, both buyers and sellers are satisfied before the ship leaves. These brief encounters with the outside world add a welcome excitement to the good life on Pitcairn. And it is a good life on these 2 square miles of island with abundance of food, water, peace, and laughter. Pitcairners respect each other, and they respect the memory of their ancestors, descendants all of the original mutineers of the Bounty. As Pitcairners will tell you, old Fletcher Christian sure found a good place to hide.
There be more strange creatures in the Pacific than in all the other seas put together. Oddballs like this feller here be all over the place. Oh, the life for me is the wildlife, the strange and curious wildlife. And what a place for wildlife Pacific Islands be.
The platypus mammal absurd might pass for a reptile or bird. This fruit bat you see is a bat, you'll agree.
Yet the name flying fox be preferred.
The wombats who live in Tasmania have sweet, peaceful thoughts in their crania. Tasmanian devils on their vicious revels
chase wombats and such miscellanea. Ouch! Ouch! Echidnas on slight provocation can always provide stimulation. This little phalanger with breathtaking grandeur can do a great bird imitation.
Galapagos Spanish for tortoise, whose secrets of life ever thwart us, eats cactus and grass as the centuries pass from his birth up to his rigor mortis. Mother penguin with wings for her power plays round in the surf by the hour, while home on a nest stays her husband depressed, thinking, I don't know why I allow her.
The Falkland Islands play host to a species of penguins called jackass penguins. When the stay-at-home husband thinks his wife is playing around too much, he brays. And she'd better come a-running. The wayward wife enlists the moral support of her relatives. Her excuses are not accepted. the argument starts. Enter the mother-in-law. His relatives join in. Now the whole neighborhood is involved. My, such language. Now, one of the most graceful ocean birds in flight is the albatross. On the ground, however, he's something else. For obvious reasons, the albatross is often called Goonie bird. South America's contribution to Moby's book is the three-toed anteater. Planning to feast on a log full of termites, he meets another anteater with the same idea. Mutually respectful of each other's sharp claws, their feeble feints and jabs are hardly a toe-to-toe slugfest. And the winner? The termites. Meanwhile, dragons are alive and living on the Galapagos Islands. Basically gentle-natured, these marine iguanas occasionally engage in duels of honor. First, the insults. Then, the fight. These rare contests are sure to pull a crowd. The fight is over. But not the insults. In a Central American jungle, moving slowly through the treetops, this sloth is trying to escape a hungry jaguar. saved by a lucky break. And the Jaguar's would-be lunch floats safely away.
Deep down, deep down.
There be interesting spots seen from planes and from yachts, and they given folks pleasures unmatched. Ah, but very few know the Pacific below, for the surface has hardly been scratched.
Deep, deep down, twixt the foam and the floor is a world to explore, is a world man has pondered for years. For since time's early dawn, he has felt himself drawn to the lure of aquatic frontiers. Deep down, deep down, deep, deep down.
Man's first problem was to find a way to reach the depths. One day, an idea suddenly struck him, and he took the plunge. This was too easy a solution. His conquest of the deep had hardly begun when something seemed wrong. Something was missing. Air. Centuries later, there was this Roman who was quite ingenious. He reasoned that a hollow reed could supply him with air while seeking his elusive gold at the bottom of the sea. But this method, too, proved impractical. Beyond the 3-foot depth, an interesting phenomenon occurred. Since pressure of water, W, is greater than pressure of air in lungs, A, it follows that W plus A equals PLC, painful lung collapse. At this point, he loses all interest in the experiment. "1,700 years later, the Englishman rules the seas, but only on the surface. He too ponders a way to answer the siren call of the deep. About this time, a series of strange events led to the invention of the diving bell. It happened during the 3rd watch. The rope broke. Man, A, was struck by bell, B, knocking him into the sea, C. He discovered that the air in the bell displaced much of the water. For the first time, he was able to take a breath while under the surface. Great. But he learned quickly that air once used is worse than no air at all. And so the problem remained for the scientist to solve. To the Englishman's bell, he applied the principle of the Roman's hollow reed and attached thereto a simple hand pump to supply air pressure. Confident now, our experimenter set forth to seek and conquer, only to find that in the matter of air, he erred. There was plenty of air in the bell, but he couldn't take it with him. Man envied the freedom and mobility of the fish. So, with a few minor alterations, came the invention of the diving suit. A marked improvement, but not without its drawbacks. True, there was a certain mobility, but the long trailing air hose limited one's undersea operations. Well, back to the old blackboard. If the air hose was the snag, Why not lose it? But where then would a diver get an air supply? That's it. Carry it along, compressed in a tank. A completely self-contained diving suit. Alas, the suit was still bulky, still awkward. However, this was a giant step forward. Now a diver could descend to depths never before imagined. Of course, any minor damage to the suit meant a return of that old trouble. No air. Through necessity, then, came the greatest discovery. By merely pressurizing his lungs, his problem was solved. This, then, was the aqua lung. Now add a face mask and fins for his feet. Behold, the skin diver. He was free at last. Free to pursue his age-old dream, researching the undersea and exploring all the delights that lie deep down.
The deepest deeps in all the world, the Pacific waters claim. And from this island in the Philippines, one of them gets its name. Why, if you sink Mount Everest in the Mindanao Trench, ye can bet mountain climbers would frown. Toward the summit they'd drop and be scaling the top over 1,000 fathoms deep down.
Deep, deep down.
Well, as long as we're under, with plenty of air, and the view from the mountain be clear. All ye mateys, ahoy! Let's get set to enjoy the mysterious world that be here.
Deep down, deep down, deep, deep down.
Moby begins this chapter of his book with scenes of serenity in a graceful, rhythmic flow of undersea life. First impressions imply that all is peace and harmony. Not so. In the grim struggle for undersea existence, all life is both predator and prey. And nowhere is this so much in evidence as in one of the Pacific's coral reef cafes. In this unusual seafood restaurant, it is sometimes difficult to distinguish between the dinner and the diner. Now, Mr. Rocky Lobster has come to dine on starfish, which Mr. Toadfish has reluctantly relinquished. Queenie Triggerfish drops in for a lobster snack, though she knows lobster disagrees with her. Maury Eel scans the menu. He fancies Triggerfish, who is still fancying lobster. Octopus feels like lobster today, too. But he loses his appetite when lobster develops a taste for octopus. Ah, fresh crab. Queenie, deciding on a lighter meal, will settle for crab. Crab tries scratching himself off the menu. Could you find a restaurant where the food fights back? now changes his order to crab and finally serves himself. Queenie is upset and bound to get her meal back. Maury Eel still hasn't eaten. He too tries stealing Orville's crab. Maury's wife scolds her husband for his bad manners. Well, as we told you, all is not necessarily peace and harmony here in the Coral Reef Cafe.
The Pacific be divided into several large groups of islands. For example, if in a given triangle, ABC, angle A were Hawaii, B, New Zealand, and C, Easter Island, then the area, let's see now. Oh, yes, 1/2 the base BC times the height equals Polynesia. Now, if you want to visit this and other romantic spots with me, Moby's Island Cruise will be shoving off on page 203. Ahoy there! Well, I see you be ready to start our little excursion. Climb aboard, mateys. We got a lot of water to explore. 63 million square miles. Or be it 64. All ashore that be going ashore. Cast off there, Goonie.
Where would you like to go? What would you like to see? How would you like to visit some islands with me? Where would you like to start? Where would you like to end? There are places by the thousands we could recommend. We could go to Borneo, to Baker, Wake, or Ponape, Kodiak, or Nunivak, or somewhere not so far away. Nuku no 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 uti fana futi celebes. Nuku oro vani koro, don't you love the ocean breeze? Maybe we should visit Fiji since we are so near. I'll bet you never realized the hotfoot started here.
Traditionally, the Fiji hotfoot or firewalking ceremony begins with a fire made in ancient fashion. It takes many hours for the stones to heat white hot, and so a spear dance passes away the time. When the stones reach white heat, about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, they're leveled out, ready for the firewalkers. And here they come. How bare feet can stand this inferno puzzles even the scientists. Never wincing or suffering blisters, firewalkers are believed to be in a hypnotic trance during this ritual. Green leaves add the threat of scalding steam. After the ordeal, one of the firewalkers submits to an examination by a skeptic. A few hundred miles west in the New Hebrides, another fascinating event is about to take place. Here on Pentecost Island, we are soon to witness an incredible competition. A contest of land diving. Excitement fills the air as streams of spectators pour in. The tower from which the contestants dive is built of thin tree trunks lashed together with vines. Height, about 100 feet. Shortly, these men will risk broken necks in a fantastic display of bravery. Music and dancing help relieve the tension. Friends and next of kin wish good luck and give last-minute encouragement. And now, the divers begin their long climb to the top of the tower. Excitement mounts. The divers' ankles are bound with vines, the other ends of which have already been secured to the diving platform. The vines are cut to an exact length, just long enough to break the diver's fall the very instant his head brushes the ground. Care must be taken so the vines don't get snagged. The moment has come. Diver number 1 begins his incantations and what may be his final salute to the world. Anticipation stirs the fans to a frenzy. A perfect score. Touching head first, springing back, and landing on his feet. And now the competition is underway. In this sport, the important thing is to keep your head. Amazing, this boy's bones are still intact. And so, it's on this happy note we leave the incredible land divers of the New Hebrides.
Puka, 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 rua, pula, sukan, pula, wat, Masatiera, Halmahera, Chatham, Bellany, and Scott. Have you tried a surfboard ride? Now there's a lot of fun. Well, why not make Hawaii just to see how surfing's done?
Riding the waves on a surfboard is a sport originated by the old Hawaiian kings and chieftains. Here, where it all started, Surfing is now the pastime of enthusiastic thousands. To the casual observer, gliding on the graceful slope of a wave in the peaceful Pacific seems like restful, soothing fun. But is it? And so, as the surfers sink slowly into the sea, we say aloha to Hawaii and the restful sport of surfing.
Coral reefs and palm trees sway. Here's an island we should see. Happy people dancing, playing. There's just one place this could be. Beautiful Samoa is the land of dance and song. But time does not permit us to remain here very long. From the sea, Fujiyama, fishing nets rolled out to dry. Wrestling match in Yokohama, and the soldiers samurai. Jugglers at a celebration, these we quickly scan. Now you can say you've seen a little something of Japan. Here we have a glacier breaking, see the icebergs in the making. Here's a live volcano spewing lava in the sea. Elephant seals on Guadalupe say, isn't that a nosy group? And here we take a fast look at the coconut industry. Yonder to the sailboat races, voodoo rites and painted faces. Nothing is left out, for here are all the things that Moby spoke to you about. Rapahanga, Eromanga, Catalina, Pitcairn, Gili Mealy, well now really isn't travel broadening. Attuanda, Gatu, San Ambrosio, and Hall. I hope by now you realize we'll never see them all. Paga-tica-paco, paga-tica-paco, paga-tica-paco. the praises of.
Nor or south of the equator, nothing's bigger, nothing's greater
than the Pacific.